Yes, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we move forward to our next dignitary, a very eminent, esteemed dignitary amongst us here. I'd like to introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy is a visionary who firmly placed India on the global engineering research and development services map by establishing CYIENT, which is formerly Infotech Enterprises, in 1991. Dr. Reddy served as the chairman of NASSCOM, National Association of Software and Service Companies, during 2015 and 16. He served as the chairman of CII, Southern Region, 2008 to 2009, and currently he's the chairman of CII Education Council. Dr. Reddy is also the founding director of T-Hub, the largest startup incubation center in the country. Dr. Reddy received India's fourth highest civilian award, the Padma Shri, in 2017 for his contribution to trade and industry. He is the recipient of the Distinguished Leadership Award of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, CIE Division. He was conferred Lifetime Achievement Awards from Hyderabad Management Association, Hyderabad Software Enterprises Association, and the Center for Organization Development, recognizing his industry leadership, corporate excellence, and institution building. He is the recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award from IIT Kanpur and is a fellow of the Institution of Engineers, India. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy, Founder Chairman, CYIENT.
A very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NASTech 2022. I'm very delighted to be here in many ways. We used to have a flagship event of NASSCOM, which is called NILF, NASSCOM's India Leadership Forum. It took a while before we could get it converted into NTLF. It's now called NASSCOM's Technology Leadership Forum, because people like me believed that technology was the key driver for the industry. And certainly what we have also seen is IT has transformed itself considerably. We'll move into that a little more. What was the original status of information technology? People of my generation actually punched cards from paper documents that came to us and sent it to the data centers for them to process the data and give us outputs which came back in paper. That was when I said, you know, technology was helping us to provide information to us. And probably it would continue to be the same if you probably extended it further by saying, oh no, I got terminals, I could scan. But what was it doing? Purely just giving you information thereafter. But what is technology doing today is a lot more than just information. It actually, number of instances you see, technology takes real-time decisions on your behalf. So I think what NASSCOM is today is more centered around technology. So I'm very delighted that NILF became NTLF, and I'm equally delighted with having the NASTech 2022. And I think the way in which it's progressing is a clear indicator of what requirements of a membership is. Srikanth told us at this point of time that we did 2 events virtually. And this year, it's not only physical, but it's being done in 5 centers. I think that's the progress we are making in terms of technology, progress we are making in terms of NASSCOM. So let's give a round of applause to all our friends at NASSCOM for all that they do in making sure that the membership get the best that they need. I don't know whether Shiva is here or not. I was having a conversation with him just before I came here. And I was saying to Shiva that what do we give to our members is what is required. We're talking about R&D being done in India. R&D will be done in India if there's demand for R&D products. If there's no demand, we'll not do it. The fact that we are going to 5 cities and we are trying to talk about technology is enough reflection that all our membership is also moving towards technology. With that, let me move on to the topic for today. I decided to talk to you all about the power, the potential, and the promise of technology in shaping up a very bright future. So I'll do this in 3 parts. The first part will be more on the power of technology. The second part will be on the technology potential growing into every industry segment you can think about. And the third one is, what does this technology hold as a promise to all of us? In terms of power of technology, I believe it is eating every industry. This is a fairly serious cliche that's being used all around. And I'll prove my point in a minute. You look at my next slide. In 2006, if you look at companies by its market cap, the companies which were there are not technology companies. Exxon, GE, Total, Microsoft, and Citi. Microsoft was the only exception, which was a technology company out of the 5. And the rest of them were either oil companies, Total and Exxon. Citi was financial services. GE was a multi-product conglomerate. Though at some point of time, Jack Welch did say that GE was computer on the wheels. Or he said it was a technology company. But fast forward 5 years, how does the transformation happen? You now see that the sizes have grown, but it's still non-technology play that happens. That's just, now Apple got into the top 5, but then you don't find Microsoft. It just, this is in the 7th position, I believe, that year. But then you move forward another 5 more years. You see that color of orange all around, orange representing technology companies. All top 5 companies in the world today are technology companies. They become all pervasive all around. And in 2016, if you look at the market cap of these companies, the best of it was $500 billion company, that was Apple, $562 billion. You fast forward by 5 more years, what you see there is that the technology companies have grown many-fold, 4 times over. From $500 billion, Apple became a $2 trillion company. And so are the rest of the people. A good indicator, I'm sure you slowly get convinced. I'll convince you further by showing more about how technology has become all-pervasive. So we saw the best of the companies in the world are technology companies, and their technology is going to be everywhere. Let's move on to my next slide. And this is about how technology is being adopted at this point of time. And you look at something like electricity. It took almost like from 1880 or so to 1960 before we had 100% adoption. Maybe in countries like India, it was a little slower than that. Or if you look at telephony, even today, all around the world, the number is more like about 95%. And how many years is it taking for adoption? From left to right, sorry, it didn't move. I thought I moved this. Which way do I show? This way? Yeah, it came in. Sorry. So I thought I had this on the screen. So this is about 1880. You look at this imposing slide to me. It was very impressive that it took many of the products and many of the technologies a number of years, literally a century, to get to that number of 100%. Whereas you look at the small things that we all have enormous amount to rejoice with. A cell phone got adopted between 1990 to 2005. It hit the number called 95%. Or internet went from 1990 to 2005 to a level which is more like 60%. It's now almost there at about 75 or 78% globally. So the technology is today being adopted much quicker. Adopted by every industry, so they become large. they're being adopted much quicker. Let's look at what technology is doing further in terms of getting adopted faster. In the first 4 years of announcing new technology, if you look at things like Skype, Twitter, or Gmail, they did reasonably well. 52, 54, and finally 123 million Gmail users were there in just 4 years. You move forward with it. Facebook said, no, we can do it much faster, and took it to a number called 145 million. Then came WhatsApp. And it said they had 500 million users in 4 years' time. That's the speed at which technology is being adopted. Is there anybody in this room who don't use WhatsApp at this juncture? Can you put up your hand, please? That's good news. So that's how technology is being adopted at this point of time. So by now, you could have possibly got a feeling that this is all to do with social, digital, and primarily devices, electronics. But these technologies had a profound effect on many other areas. And the profound effect, what did it result in, is a steep drop in prices. So 2 things I'll show you is one is that it has gone into other areas. The second one is, as a result of that, the prices dropped quite steeply. Look at the first one, which is 3D printing, a new wave of technology which came in sometime in the early part of 2000. And what was it costing? The equipment was about $40,000. I can buy a 3D printer at this point of time for $100. That's where I am today. And so therefore, this is mechanical device. There is no denying technology play in it, but it is producing mechanical parts, or actually now they're saying biosynthetic parts could also be produced. On the lighter vein, I keep saying that it can produce now human parts, human spare parts. We will require more amount of spare parts, and the 3D can do it. And actually, pardon me, I might digress, but possibly the 4D is also coming fairly soon. But they're saying in 4D printing, after designing a product and printing it out, it can still change the shape when it gets into the environment being body. You can still accurately predict the body and put the part there. But if there's a requirement, it could also change its shape. That's the flexibility it will go with the 4D technologies. The next one is industrial robots. There has been a reduction as much as 23 times in terms of its price in a span of just 5 years. So that's a different application. And no, you see the drones that are swarming all around. Pardon me, the data is a little outdated, but I couldn't find a slide which had the later data as 2021 or 2022. But even in this particular span of just 6 years, drones went down by a factor of 142 times. It's not 700 any longer. You can buy a drone for $100. And fairly effective ones, fairly good functionality. You have seen use cases in drug delivery, in terms of crowd control. These are applications that I've seen used by using a $100 drone. And so is the case with solar cells. Solar cells came down by 200 times. What played the role? Again, underlying, and I like to emphasize, is all about technology. And then let's move on to a slightly different area, is biotechnology. People feel very excited about how the vaccines were developed and delivered for the COVID-19 vaccine. And people say that it used to take 10 years before a vaccine could be developed. What did we take in 2021 and 2022? The mRNA vaccine took less than a year, actually. It took 11 months from start to finish. And to it, the underlying was computing technology. And these technologies certainly have definitely helped us in terms of even DNA sequencing. DNA sequencing costed a bomb to people at $10,000. That's what it was. And it has dramatically reduced again. So is the case with nanotechnologies. And finally, with full body scans, which were as expensive as $10,000, now they're down to as low as $200. The $500 is the number that we have. And what we believe is it's largely because of innovation, but innovation which has got fueled by technology. And I'll call out 4 of them which have helped dramatically, and then there'll be a lot more which will come as we talk about. One is computers, the second is connectivity, third is sensors, and the fourth is algorithms. In every one of these, what you are looking at right now, these 4 had a play. And what are we seeing in each one of these technologies is, in case of computers and storage, every 18 months, we're seeing that they're becoming faster twice. They become half the price. They become half the size. And that doesn't seem to slow down at all. So that being the case, certainly, I'm sure everybody is now convinced that technology is eating every industry. Let's move on and say, now look at what are the biggest bets in technology. Again, we should give back credit to NASCOM. NASCOM, in collaboration with BCG, released a report in Bangalore yesterday. And BCG has been doing a lot of work for NASCOM over years. And they identified 28 emerging technology themes from 11 tech families. And these would start off with digital manufacturing, immersive media, IoT systems, connectivity, some of them we talked about so far, new generation computing, blockchain, climate change, and all the way going down to the famous ones, which are the AI/ML, AI-enabled cybersecurity, and AI-enabled data solutions. What they found further is, if you look at my pick out of these 11 technology families that they did, is it's AI and AI. To me, the present and future of technology is AI/ML. It is not new. Please don't mistake that AI has just surfaced in the recent past. I had the fortune of working with a gentleman called Dr. Reddy from 1982 to 1992. I ran a company for him called OMC Computers. And Raj's PhD thesis in Stanford in 1961 was speech recognition using AI algorithms. So it was as old as 1961. That was the first PhD in AI, all right, in Stanford itself. And that was Raj's PhD. And in 1980s, when I used to work with him fairly closely, Raj used to tell me all about the autonomous cars that will come by. And I very naively used to ask him, why not now? And the answer used to be, Mohan, if you require to implement them now, behind every autonomous car, there will have to be a 15-ton truck driven by a driver carrying all the equipment that's required for this autonomous car. But what has that got reduced itself? Into a small little, probably size of a suitcase. That's what all that has now shrunk in terms of size. You go ahead and apply the theory I talked about. This is basically Moore's law, which is equipment becoming half the size, half the price, and twice the speed. That's what we have got. We now got everything packed in the boot of a car, which is all the equipment we thought will probably require a 15-ton truck. So if you look at this progress, especially my favorite, which is the most trending technology, which is AI, technology, it has now come to that level of maturity that it can have a number of use case applications. Some of the things that BCG in their report itself have called out yesterday was on autonomous driving, on deep learning, smart robotics, computer vision, conversational AI, virtual agents and chat boxes, and gesture recognition. I was reading about this a little more in the last few days. Coming down to conversational AI, actually, you can now have an applet which can learn your voice, and it can now continue your conversation as if you're doing that without you being there. That is a reality today. In a chat box, if you're asked a question and you're supposed to give the answer, for the first 2 words that you write, the chatbot that's yours, your chatbot, is in a position to fill up the rest of it and tell you what the likely answer is. That's today. This is the proof of concepts which you're seeing in many places, not in one location. To the extent there's no the flavor of what you're doing and how you write your programs, and you specify what you're looking for in few sentences, in absolutely clean English, write the first few lines of the code, it can fill in 200 lines thereafter. This is not fiction. This is today. This is not future too. I don't intend to scare you off, but I think the computers will start competing with us. I'm sure if you start reading newspapers, occasionally you keep hearing, saying that, look, in a game of chess, the computer bet this guy. But you'll hear more of them, and the reason is as follows. Today, why is human being so smart compared to the computer is number of neurons that are in your brain. We're still not in a position to match them. But by 2030, the predictions are that you will find enough number of neurons in the computers. And the other thing that's very important is how just not the neurons are placed in each individual brain, but the way in which they're connected. And these are connected once. By birth, they get connected and come to us. Whereas computers, you can keep changing those connections. The network connections can be dynamically changed. And further, your intelligence comes to you. Your attitudes change all right, but it takes time for a human being. But I write a piece of software, I upgrade that machine periodically, so it can become much better than what we are. But who creates that is us, so don't get overtly concerned about it. So what we are seeing today is the intelligent AI that's happening. And this has progressed very well over a period of last 30 years. So therefore, the progression has been very systematic if you look at it. When internet came in, we all got connected together. That's all what happened with it. Thereafter, the cloud came in. When we started sharing information, it scaled, sharing became very important. I didn't need to store any more of that information. It's a scalable architecture, I could share them. Thereafter, the mobile came in, especially the smart mobile. I could create content on the move. I can change the content. I can edit the content, all that on just a mobile phone. Accessibility became very important. But now, companies like AI Runway, they're making AI intelligent. They just put a name there. But there are so many more. I didn't want to clutter the slide. So therefore, what we believe is there will be several technologies. Please don't come back and challenge me, Mr. Reddy. On 7th of December 2022, you said AI is the future. Certainly, I'll back it up. But there may be many more. This is not the only one which will be there. So I'll try to call a few more out. But what we see that in AI, we just talked about enabled data solutions. But equally important is the cybersecurity and also the analytics and behavioral modeling of people are possibly are the other areas in which we would progress. And so how does it pan out to be in terms of in different industries too? We think that the growing segments of the AI at this point of time is just the chipsets that are being made, whether it is for, excuse me, it is for ASIC design, edge computing, or the natural language processing technologies, or the cloud segment. That is a fairly large part, the one which to my extreme right. The North American market itself is growing at about 38%. And similar is the case in terms of automotive market. We feel there's a fairly steep growth that is happening in that area too. These are the forecasts that we are making as a company today. We're betting on these areas where we think there is enormous amount of opportunity. And the third one is healthcare. We'll talk about it as a mega trend in a moment from now, but these are the applications we see: ASIC design, chip design, autonomous cars, and healthcare. And the end result is the artificial intelligence market will grow as much as 36% compounded year on year for next 10 years. The next call I have, which is fairly predictable, is all about connectivity. We talked about 5G, and I was myself very pleasantly surprised. It is not very recent, about 12 months back, when one of my professors at IIT Hyderabad started giving me a pitch all about 6G technologies. And I think I stopped him and said, look, Kiran, why are you talking about 6G? We still didn't roll out 5G. He said, sir, unless we start now, we probably cannot roll it out in 2030. Typically, 10 years is the time it takes before you get there. And what are we seeing with 5G itself right now? Tremendous amount of applications, connectivity applications. Latency levels have come down to less than 1 millisecond. What does it mean? You can have a patient 10,000 miles away being operated upon by a surgeon sitting in Hyderabad. Because now it gives you an ability that as your stylus moves on the virtual image, the knife is moving simultaneously. If you're touching a point to say, I need to cauterize the bleeding here, it's already cauterizing on the other side. Those are the applications which are not possible so far, are feasible now because of connectivity. And this will be further up. If you look at it, the connectivity density will go up. The throughputs will increase quite dramatically. And the spectrum efficiency will be high. And we will have many more applications. And we will see more applications. I'm sure you must have heard about this. While today there are 5 billion people that are there who are on the internet in the world, but there are 15 more billion things which are also on the same net, conversing with you. You don't realize that, but when you ask a question to Alexa, you're actually talking to a device. That's a connection between a human being and a device. Alexa comes back with an answer to you. You have further questions to Alexa. So therefore, this ability, or the sensors are finding out how much of, how much of juice is there, orange juice is there in your refrigerator, to alert you saying that you need to buy orange juice tomorrow. It doesn't last for tomorrow. So these are the things which will make many more new applications will come by. But connectivity is the third one that I like to call out. And the fourth one is that we talked about it, the sensors which are coming in are putting oceans of data. Yes, I got that. Oceans of data. And so therefore, the requirement now is, while data is available, why is data being available? Because sensors have become cheap. Sensors have become smart. I know a use case application where in a power plant in South Africa, in Cape Town, they threw about 20 sensors. They threw them with the hand. The guy had in his fist. And thereafter, he showed me a demonstration of how the power plant performance was on. What's the technology he was using? He was using sound. These were sound sensors. They're all over the floor. They're listening, and he's synthesizing the sound to think about the efficiency of each one of the subsystems. So you see the sensors, while they're taking the data, here's the challenge thereafter. The data where it is sourced, if it's all sent up to the cloud, it's expensive. So what you want to do, and the second one is, if you want to take decisions to be taken, it becomes critical because there's no computing there. So that's how edge computing has come into play. Now, sensors have built-in computers in them. You might say, Mr. Reddy, where did the power come? We're seeing applications where power is coming because of the heat that gets generated around it. They're coming because of air waves that go around it. We're seeing because of the vibrations that are there in it. You might say, this is futuristic. No, it is today. So therefore, the edge computing, which is the key thing in making sure the cost of data transmission comes down, the ability to take decisions instantaneously improves, it's what we think is the third one that I like to call out. So three things. One is AI, the second one is connectivity, and the third one is edge computing is what I thought, or the next generation computing, are the three technologies I'll call out. So where do these technologies find its place? I think we have made it public. So therefore, these are the 5 areas in which my company or our company is currently betting its bets on. We call them as the 5 mega trends. The first one is intelligent mobility. Second one is the digital healthcare. Third one is Industry 4.0 connected with the smart operations. The fifth one is sustainability, and finally you have the space. So in intelligent mobility too, if you look at it, there are so many areas in which you can work on. People think, what is there in battery technology? There's so much amount of intelligence that's being built. If you look at I was at a demonstration day before yesterday in Chennai. I'm trying to recall the name of the company, but this is the one which has got high-end EVs. They can get to a speed of 160 kilometers per hour. 300 kilometers is the range that they have. Literally, they are the fastest bikes they can think about. Extremely well done. I had great amount of pride when I heard the story because it's truly a product which is engineered in India. Right from scratch to finally the manufacturing that's being done. So you look at the energy requirement for that bike for 300 kilometers. It's all packed in a box, which is like about 12 inches by 18 inches by 4 inches. And he said, Mr. Reddy, this is like if you, people like you, understand the lead-acid batteries. He said there are 500 of them which were packed in that space. And you have to manage them. You can't get power from any one of them. So therefore, power management systems is all again using technology. You use ICs, you use circuitry. There are a fairly large amount of power management systems built into the box. So is the case that you have urban mobility. You'll see more of them. Again, I saw a prototype at a startup on Saturday. Today is Tuesday, right? Yeah, Saturday. I was in, no, today is Wednesday. So Monday I saw it in Chennai. 2-seater, vertical takeoff and horizontal movement aero vehicles. We don't know, we can't call them choppers, we call them planes. And they had 8 electric motors, EV powered. Look at the technology behind it too. So we think that this is not, mobility does not mean just the cars alone. I'm giving you examples of a motorbike or an EV. Of course, yes, we think there will be a lot more progress that will happen in terms of the automobiles itself. Today, I think today there are cars which can be driven autonomously. We still have legislations which have to be taken care of. But then you look at the transformation that will happen. The concept of a driver will disappear. Why do you require a driver? It's autonomous. So cars will take a different shape. People will sit together in a circular table like all of you are doing right now. You can have a good conversation and networking as opposed to two in the front, two in the back. And then why do you require to have a car yourself thereafter? Look at the amount of change, social change, that will also bring about. You can always order a car, it will come to you when you require. It will drop you where you want and it will go away. Why do you require to drive all by yourself? It's a nice environment, so you'll probably share it. It knows the path, it stops by the next passenger, gets him on board, and then you can always have a conversation. So that's how you'll see adaptation of technology in the intelligent mobility. The other one which I think I'm very upbeat about is all on healthcare. India has the biggest challenge in terms of number of doctors. No denying, I'm sure progressive politicians are going ahead and saying we'll create 33 medical colleges in 33 districts of 33 in the state. But the question that comes up is, where do you find the doctors? The only way we can solve this problem is bringing in the technology. The doctors will be helped dramatically in terms of the way in which the technology can work. Very mundane example, I keep telling people that, you go for a chest X-ray, and the chest X-ray comes out, your doctor puts it against the light and says, you're clean. Doctor honestly is not seeing truly what's left behind on the X-ray. A computer can see 12 months ahead of the doctor if there's a lesion on a lung. There's evidence to it. So therefore, you see technology being there to a great extent helping mankind. So as a result of this, what we'll see also longevity improving, but you will see that people can live healthily. Longevity is a secondary thing. So long as you're there, there are a number of people in this country who do not have access to minimal health care. And that is possible with technology being there in every place. And in the interest of time, I need to close down as quickly as I can. My last one is Industry 4.0 and smart operations. I think we all the time complain about not having the right skilled people. And that won't be too far away when we have a lot of robotics, a lot of smart operations that will happen in a factory environment. You look at this smart asset management. I know a startup company which actually has something called contactless maintenance. The maintenance workers just walk around the facility. We're talking about large power plants. And then when they walk around, there's all pictures being done. There's back-end AI which is trying to tell them whether they're the right temperature, right vibration, and other properties that it should possess, because the sensors are right there. So the end result is, if there is a problem, then somebody has to come and change a part. Look at what the part requirements are also very well known. He knows which make it is, which skill that is required. So the efficient technician goes to change the part. So those are the applications we are finding. So if you look at elements of it, there's sensor that's there. There is, no denying at all, AI is there. There's connectivity which is on. And all put together, which makes these solutions very unique. I have two more areas which I just will gloss over. And one is that, which is very important, and I like to thank Srikanth Srinivasan for raising this issue, saying that we now have badges which are made of jute. We won't have water bottles. It will be 1,000 of plastic bottles saved. And that is what I think the whole world is working towards, sustainability. And a key word I like to use is something called the circular economy. Our customers are coming back to us and trying to tell us now new products, which are mechanical products, cannot have more than 20% of waste when they retire from their life. There could be even aircraft engines. Aircraft engines have an average lifespan between 20 years and 25 years. But they're saying we'll design them in such a way that when they're junked out at the end of their life, there can't be more than 20% of wastage. So that is how I think technology will play an important role back again in ensuring that these are now implemented in sustainability. People misuse water, so therefore people are saying, no, let's control water. Controlling water may be just not putting the valves and so on and so forth. We start measuring water on a real-time basis. Which part of the town is not getting enough water? Who is using more of it or who is misusing more of it? Technology from the cloud is in a position to give you that information, and we have yet another startup with which I'm working on. And so therefore, you'll see sustainability in a big way, whether it's on carbon reduction, green energy, waste management, and finally, complaints monitoring and reporting. And finally, the last one, and I'm sure my good friend from Skyroot is here. I saw him earlier. There he is. And he'll talk more about it, is that the space will be a big opportunity for all of us. An opportunity which will ensure that technology will help them in terms of navigating. I gave you an example earlier too on this two-seater autonomous vertical takeoff, horizontal movement vehicle. And in all of these cases, you'll see more amount of satellites. You have private launch pads at this point of time. And you'll see a lot more amount of geospatial data that will come in. And the sum total of it is, I'll end up by saying, technology will certainly make all of us more comfortable, more prosperous. Don't get threatened about it at all. But one challenge we all will have, and irrespective of where we are in our lives, irrespective of where I am in my life too, I keep saying, if I don't learn, I get obsoleted very quickly. So therefore, but then learning is not at all a luxury anymore. I don't need to go to a library. I don't need to go and sit somewhere in a peaceful place. I sit in my car, I still am reading a book. I am downloading what I need now. So I think you have the technology is also giving you that advantage of learning. Technology is giving opportunities, but the end of it, it'll bring health and wealth to every one of us. Thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll also be felicitating Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy, founder, chairman, CYIENT. And then again, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Reddy has been gracious enough to pen down his life experiences in a book, which is a masterclass in entrepreneurship. And the good news is that this book is currently available here. Yes, so the book is currently available right here as you proceed later during the tea break. In the experience zone, we have a stall for Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy, and you can grab the book from the stall.